Episode 20. We made it to the big 2-0 of the Loose and Groovy baseball show. Me and Parker coming at you from spring break, actually. That's why we're in a bit of a different setting than usual. Yeah, it's during our spring break, so we're gonna have actually a content-filled week for you guys. I think 3 episodes on the planner right now, at least. Today we're doing outfielders, and what we decided to do was group all the outfielders, so left field, center field, right field, all into one big group. So we're doing top 15 today to kind of accommodate for that, just to save time as the MLB season is actually coming up very fast. So we want to have some other content coming out for you guys outside of just position rankings. So we group the outfielders all together. Starting pitching is also coming tomorrow, I guess, and then we'll have award predictions along with division postseason predictions as well, talking more about teams overall and how we think the season's going to play out. So Parker, how have you been doing?
Pretty good. We're currently in spring break right now. My spring break's been pretty uneventful. Haven't really done anything besides just hang out with my family, which has been nice. You're the one just got back from Marco
Yeah.
Island, so how was that?
It was great. It was great. It was really warm, 80 degrees and sunny. Can't complain. I was really hoping to go to a spring training game, actually,
Mm,
about an hour south of Fort Myers, where there's a couple
yeah.
teams that play there, but just didn't have enough time to end up working out. But I'm not going to complain with just lounging around in the sun all day. So yeah, it was pretty good. So
Couldn't sell it to your family to drive an hour.
no, I think they would have gone if we had like an
Yeah.
extra day or two, but we flew in, spent the afternoon, and then we kind of only had like one full day, and we didn't really want to
Yeah.
like go anywhere or travel and anything. So I understood, and I wasn't gonna force that on anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Nonetheless, still a very good trip. So yeah, we'll get right into the episode today. Me and Parker both have two little mini segments for you guys. Mine is going to be talking about some spring training. Lots of good storylines coming out, especially on the prospect side of things. Today, I have a few kind of veteran ones, as there's been some interesting ones on that side as well. So, how this is going to work, Parker, is I'm going to give you just a player, some of the stats that they've been showing during spring training, and then a kind of a take, I guess you could say, about where we think they're at or what their season could look like. And then you're going to say you're going to like buy it or sell it pretty much, whether you think that will be true or if you don't think it's true. And it could be based on anything. It doesn't have to be based just off spring training. These are just some of the things that we're seeing. So first
Okay.
up, we've got one of your favorite players, Max Scherzer, the new Toronto Blue Jay. So he's had, I think, 2 starts so far, 5 and 2/3 innings, 8 strikeouts, no walks, 2 earned runs for a 3.18 ERA. So the take here, Scherzer pitches over 150 innings and has an ERA lower than 3.5. Are you buying or selling that?
How many innings?
150.
An ERA under 3.5.
Yeah.
Dude,
It,
if it was 120, I'd say 100% buy, but 150 innings, oh,
yeah.
dude.
It's been a minute since he's gotten
I
the
think he's gonna be great, but I don't think he pitches 150 innings. I'm gonna have to sell. I
okay.
think he's gonna be good for what he gives, but dude, it's so tough with guys 40, almost 41 years old. So
And are you also basing that off of like injury problems recently
yeah,
that they've
injury
been having?
history,
Yeah.
just like looking at all these old guys, and he hasn't held up too well recently. So I would
Yeah.
love him to. That'd be awesome, but
Okay. I like that. I don't know what I would say. I feel like you're definitely more in touch with Scherzer and a lot of these older guys than I am. But 150 is definitely a lot. I think I looked at it. He's thrown 40 innings the past 2 seasons, and it would be really tricky to ramp him up to 150, but he's looked great in spring training so far, so that's kind of why I brought it up.
Mhm.
All right, so then moving on to our second player. This is a guy that I talk a lot about, but I thought I'd give you a chance to because he's on my team. This is Luis Robert Jr. So far in spring training, he's 6 for 14 with 2 home runs, a double, and 4 RBIs. He's been looking pretty good. And this is usually against starting pitching, like good quality pitching, because he normally plays at the start of the game, and then they take him out. So I would say it's pretty credible. It's just still a very small sample size. So the buy or sell here is, do you think he will return to a version of his former self? I didn't really have any numbers for you or kind of like a specific benchmark, but more say when you imagine 2023 Luis Robert, do you think this season he can maybe get back to something like that, or do you think we're going to see something closer to what we saw last year?
I would 100% say closer to the 2023 season. Um, I'm looking at stats right now. I'm not sure. I don't think he'll get to that 38 home run mark.
Yeah.
But I would say with confidence that I think an 800 OPS is more than in the cards. So definitely buy some version, like a
Yeah,
resemblance
something like that. Not what we saw last year. Definitely
for
not.
sure.
It would be impressive if he replicated a 657 OPS as he did
Mhm.
last year. And really hope he stays healthy for a full 162 because I'm not sure if you had him on your list today, but he definitely when he's at his best, he would be a lot higher on mine than he is
Yep.
today. So yeah, well, thanks for playing, Parker. We got a sell on Scherzer and a buy on Luis Robert Jr. And not necessarily that Scherzer would be bad, just the innings part. So I
Mhm.
guess we'll see how those play out when we get into the season. So I'll bounce it over to you for yours.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to throw something out there. Um, Give me 1 second. So, real quick, this isn't a quiz or anything, but look up Kevin Kiermaier. You probably heard of him. He's like a defensive wizard.
Yeah.
Um, so we were talking about Matt Chapman's I think 7-1 WAR season last year and how it was pretty much all defense, but his hitting was still good. So 2015, Kevin Kiermaier, age 25 season, he had a 7.1 B WAR with a 99 OPS plus. He was a below average hitter with a 7.1 B WAR. Absolutely insane.
Wow. He had
I'm
10
sure
home
that's the year
runs.
he won the platinum. It has to be. We
Yeah.
already went through these gold gloves, but dude, 7-1 with a below average offensive year is mind blowing.
I texted you that he signed with Texas, right? On the spring training team, or I told you
I think you
that.
did, yeah.
Yeah. That was because he retired, but then he came back, and I
Yeah.
guess somebody brought him in. I think it's just an invite. I think it may have been a minor league deal too. That is crazy. And this is center field, right? This or
Yeah.
yeah, okay. That makes sense. 25 doubles and 10 home runs. He only drove in 40 runs.
I know he only had 500 at bats. I mean,
Yeah.
he was mostly coming in for a defensive replacement. That's what that tells me.
He bats 8 or 9 every single year too. It doesn't like
Oh my gosh.
four
I
gold
just had to
gloves
throw
for him.
that out there.
Yeah. Give some
Insane.
respect
Okay,
to this guy. Tampa Bay Ray legend.
let's see. My quiz, I usually give you 90 seconds. It's the same thing I usually do. I'm gonna try to come up with some new stuff in the future and not just do this, but
Yeah.
um, so the team is tougher today. It's probably a 500. I don't know. You can be high on this team or you can be kind of low on them. I don't know. It all depends on how you think the young guys are going to produce. But 90 seconds, just give the core nine. Give me their positions if you can. Don't even give me a bench bet
Okay.
unless you want to give me one,
I
dude.
mean, if I couldn't get any Boston guys, I don't know if I'll get this team. But if
I think
somebody
you'll be
comes
fine
up,
with this.
I'll say them.
Give me four starting pitchers. I think you can do that, and then one or two uh relief pitchers. One of them you should be able to get because he just signed with them.
You know it's bad if the bullpen is unrecognizable.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think the lineup you'll be okay.
Okay.
Definitely not as easy as the past, but 90 seconds. I'll start it when you give me the first guy, but it's the Washington Nationals.
Knew it. Okay. Um, Catcher, Keibert Ruiz. First base, I guess it'll be Nathaniel Lowe. Is second Luis Garcia Jr. and then Abrams is short, or does
Correct.
okay.
Yep.
Third base. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to skip third. Center field, I think, is Cruz, or is it somebody else in center, or do you just
It's
outfield?
not. Cruz is right. I'll give you that, but
Is is it Jacob
it's
Young in
it's
center?
say it again.
Jacob Young,
Yes. Okay, I like it.
and then James Wood is in left then, or right, either or.
Correct. Left
Okay.
field. DH coming back.
Is it Josh Bell?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
For
Starting
the third
pitching.
baseman, real quick, third baseman, I'll give you a little hint. He had kind of a resurgence. He's kind of a joke between us a little bit.
Oh no.
Let
Okay.
me see.
I need to come back to him. Josiah Gray, Mackenzie Gore, Cole Irvin, and oh man. Oh, I know a fourth. I know a fourth. Gray, Cole, Irvin. Oh, no, is Corbin still there? This is bad, but is he still there?
Uh, I think he is, but
I
he's
don't
not even
Yeah, let's
protected.
not count that. That's
He's so
not fair.
bad. Um,
I don't know if I'm gonna get a bullpen
did
guy
you
for
name their one? I don't even know if you named their number one. Say it again. the pitchers that you named.
I said Gray, Gore, and
Okay.
Irvin.
Yeah, you okay. I thought you
Okay.
didn't know if you said Gore, but
Who pitched for them
um
last year? I honestly, I
they
know they
brought
had.
back a guy who was lights out last year, but it was kind of fluky.
Hmm,
He's kind of like a 4-5 every year besides last year.
okay. I don't. I think I'm gonna be stuck on this on the four, and I don't think I'm gonna get.
And they're testing another guy that was on the White Sox last year.
Oh yeah,
His rookie
Soroka
year was
signed here.
great.
Yeah. Yep, Soroka. That's a good one.
Yes.
So I guess is he projected to start in that rotation?
He's the 5 right now.
Okay.
Um, so Josiah Gray is still projected to be hurt. So otherwise, Soroka would be kicked off that. But
Oh, okay. Interesting. I wonder he might be a long relief guy. I don't think third base is probably gonna kill me when I don't get it.
so
Oh,
okay, it's he was on he was on the White Sox last year. We joke around about him quite a bit because
do we actually?
he hits bombs. Like he'll hit home runs, but that's literally it. There's nothing.
Who was on the White Sox? Did he play third with the White Sox?
I think so. He's mostly a shortstop. I don't know if he played third or short for the White Sox, but he did get traded.
From the White Sox. The White
He
Sox
had
traded him.
18 home runs on the White Sox in 100 games.
Is this Paul DeYoung?
It is Paul
What?
DeYoung.
He signed in
I
Washington?
didn't even know that until I
I
just
had
looked him
no
up. So,
idea. Like actually. Huh.
did you give a relief pitcher?
No, I'm
The
gonna
guy just
tap out
signed.
on tap
It's
out on
Kyle
that one.
Finnegan. He's the only one
Okay.
that's really recognizable. Jorge Lopez, kind of. And
Oh,
then
okay.
Mitch
Didn't know
Parker
this.
and Trevor Williams are the pitchers.
Yeah, that's true.
Trevor's the one that I was talking about. He's mid every year, but
Okay.
not
Paul.
bad. That was a lot tougher.
Yeah. It's definitely a newer up and coming team, but yeah,
Got
they're
all the position players besides the one guy that we joke about.
who even played third for Washington last year? Do you know off the top of your head? I couldn't
Um,
tell you that either. Because a lot of those guys played for the team last year outside of Lowe, but I couldn't tell you uh who
well,
played third
didn't
for
they
them.
have Meneses somewhere? First base, Joey
Oh,
Meneses.
Joey Meneses
But I
or
don't Meneses. I don't think he was third. I don't know. Maybe the Tenna, Jose Tenna. That's what he's on the bench right now, but I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
looks like Meneses plays first and right. I don't think he plays third.
Yeah,
And he had a very bad year last year, so
I don't know, but they got a 24 home run guy in Paul DeYoung now. So
yeah, we'll see if he does that again. I wonder what the odds of that are. Are you buying or selling Paul DeYoung over 20 home runs?
sell.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Instant sell.
Okay, well, there's the Nationals down. We'll get right into our top 15 then. We're probably going to move a little quicker from like 15 to 8 or so, and then we'll see what it looks like when we get to our top seven because there is a lot of talent when you get higher up on this list. And throughout the whole entire outfield, there's a lot of talent. So we'll do our typical snake. I'll kick it off to Parker for number 15, and then we'll go back to me and we'll just see how it goes.
So 15, we were just talking about him, and I think yours is going to be pretty close to this. I have Luis Robert at 15. So this is like rare for me to do to rank somebody coming off of such a bad year. But just looking at his potential and how much he's shown in the past, I have to do it. And he's going into his age 27 season. Just going through his stats real quick. 3.6 WAR in 2021 with a 946 OPS. He only played 70 games, but he hit 13 home runs and drove in 43 in those, I guess, 68 games. So impressive there. And then 2022 injured a little bit. 746 with a 110 OPS plus. Still a decent player, good defense. 2023, 5 WAR, 38 home runs, 80 RBIs. That was the season you were talking about where he was amazing. 857 OPS, 130 OPS plus. And then this past year, not good at all. 87 OPS plus, 657 OPS. He'll still 20 bases almost guaranteed, I think. His defense, what do you have to say about his defense? I'm still kind of torn. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good. He won a Gold Glove in 2020, I think. You might have to fact check me on
Yeah,
that.
his rookie year won a Gold Glove. Yeah.
Which, 2020 is 2020. It's good. I think it grades out pretty well, and he's got speed, and that's kind of the main thing in center field, I feel like. I remember, I'm sure you saw that clip of him dropping the ball last year in center, just kind of randomly.
Mhm.
Um,
Lazy a little bit sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I think if he's checked in, he's a very like he's a plus fielder. But like I wouldn't put him in the top category with some of the other kind of top center fielder defensively you would think of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he is pretty close for me. He's a little higher up, but not by much. At my number 15, I have Stephen Kwan. And this guy, I mean, I don't have much to say about him. He was leading the league in average for a while last season, and then he got hurt. He only played 122 games, but I think he was batting like 320, 330 or something. Finished the season at 292, still very good. 793 OPS, 126 OPS plus. His WAR the past three seasons, 5.6, 3.6, and a flat four. He's won Gold Glove all three of the seasons he's been up, which is very impressive. I think that's left field Gold Glove as well. So he does play in progressive field very well. And overall, it's just a very solid, I guess, would I call him a five-tool player? I think you could because he can steal 20 bases in a season, hits a lot of doubles, and he even hit 14 home runs last year. So I think he's all around a very, very solid player. So yeah, that's my number 15. Number 14, this guy is so tough for me. I have Jackson Churio here at number
Mm,
14. And I definitely see a case for him being higher. Um, I guess the one thing that, and a lot of the young guys are kind of having this, but his splits are a little weird.
yeah.
And I'm talking about left versus right. So righties, he kind of crushes. 18 of his 21 home runs came off of righties last year, and it's an 833 OPS compared to a 696 OPS. A lot of people remember the second half or post All-Star break stretch that Churio had 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, 915 OPS. He was hitting 310. And I think he's still 20 years old, which is insane. And even when you're looking at his year in totality, I mean, 21 home runs, 22 stolen bases, 275 average with a 791 OPS is extremely impressive for this guy. He kind of flew through the majors, and he's, again, still only 20 years old. So I think the future is very bright for him in Milwaukee. Um, and it is so tough to say because I think you could compare him to a Jackson Merrill pretty quickly, and some of these other young guys on this list, but I just kind of left him down here for 14, looking for just a good full season. And I mean, last year was a really, really good full season, but just, kind of waiting to continue to see him develop. And I gave the edge to maybe a little more experienced guys and guys that have done it multiple seasons. So.
Yeah, I think you're gonna ruffle some feathers with Kev, your brother.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I think
that's
he'll
not.
understand. I think he'll understand.
I don't
I'm
know,
sure he'll be
dude.
happy that he's even on the list. I don't know. It's just when you get to the top 10, it's so it's impossible to find room for him, I find.
Yeah, I have him higher than that. Not crazy high, but 14. I think we're on the same page with this guy. I also had Stephen Kwan in that 14, 15 range. Um, again, yeah, just consistently good defense, 5.6, 3.64, like you said, for his B WAR. 793 OPS. The biggest thing I remember with him was he was on. I don't have his splits by month. I wish I did, but um, he was on 400 batting average watch for like the first like month and a half or 2 months. You remember that?
Yep, I do. I do.
Like, he was sitting around like
Yeah,
400. It's like, is he gonna do it? And then he simmered down a lot, but I mean, he still finished with a 292, so nothing to scoff at. But just overall, I would say five tool also. Um, even if he has like 15, 20 stolen bases, that's still
very
pretty
solid.
decent. So yeah, number 14, Stephen Kwan. My number 13, I think this is gonna catch you by surprise, but I have Corbin Carroll at 13. This one was so tough for me. He
Wow.
was amazing last year. You get one rookie of the year, 5.4 B WAR, 25 home runs, 76 RBIs with an 868 OPS. And then this past year, he took a big step back. He still had 22 home runs, 74 RBIs. He led league in triples actually. But his batting just regressed a lot to a 749 OPS with a 107 OPS plus. I know his splits, he was much, much better in the second half, and that's kind of what made me a little hesitant on this. He did have a shoulder problem in the first half, and I guess that kind of messed up his swing a little bit. That's what I've heard from other sources, but I don't know. There's the guys above him are just so good that this he's gonna be. Again, I all this time I'm doing this, I make it sound like the player is bad because I'm
Yeah.
trying to justify it, but amazing player. He's gonna be much better than he was last year, but the guys above him are just too good for me to put him any higher. So number 13, Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, we are way off scale on Carroll. But I'll get into my Carroll argument much later on in this podcast because he's a lot higher than that. But I totally see where you're coming from on that. I'll leave it at that for now. So 13 for me, I have Robert Jr. here. I don't have much else to add on what we've already said. As a White Sox fan, I'm really hoping he returns to 2023 Lou Bob, but you don't really know. It's hard to say, especially when you're on a team that's not good at all. It is just a tricky situation, and if he does do good, he's probably going to be gone too. So that's also kind of just sucks, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping for the best for him. I think a lot of people are, baseball fans in general are. So we'll see how that turns out. Number 12, I have a Detroit guy. I got Riley Green up here. Uh,
Oh, dude. Oh boy.
oh, you have a lot higher. How high do you
Yeah.
have this
You
guy?
got it, bro. Come on.
I don't
Oh, this is we got a big discrepancy here.
Okay.
Big. Hey, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
I wasn't even going to be negative about him. I was going to say only good things.
I know, but
It is only
I
good
got
things.
him. I got him much, much higher.
I don't know. I'm looking at my list, and these names above him are insane. Okay.
Yeah, I get
Uh,
it, but go ahead.
So Riley Green, underrated, I would 100% say. He had a 5.4 BWAR last year, 24 home runs, 27 doubles, 262 average, 479 slug, 827 OPS, 133 OPS plus. He was also an all-star for Detroit, which is pretty cool. Um, he's great. I I was kind of taken aback by Parker's comments, but I this wasn't gonna be. I have nothing bad to say about Riley Green. I think he's only gonna get better. He's a perfect outfielder. He fits Detroit very well. I think they love him there too. He's a homegrown guy, and he's going to be good here for a very long time. So yeah, that he's at number 12, and I'll be curious to hear when we get to him for you. So I'll give it back to you.
Oh, it's gonna be a little while before we hear him.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll wait to talk about him. This guy you definitely got pretty high. But I got Teoscar Hernandez at 12. I thought you would have him. Is that
He's
close?
he's 11 for me, so we're right in the
Okay,
same
okay.
area.
I thought you'd have him a lot higher than that, but just a guy that's proven it. His offense year in and year out is amazing. His defense is not great. In 2022 and 2023, his offense was very good, as I've been saying, but his defense brought him down to a 2.8 and a 2.1 WAR. But this past year, um, amazing, best year since 2021 when he was with Toronto. But 4.3 WAR, 33 home runs, 99 RBIs with an 840 OPS, 137 OPS plus. Amazing. I think the contract with the Dodgers is perfect for both of them. Brings him back. They absolute fan favorite there. Did he win this past year for the Homer Derby, I believe?
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did.
Just electric, seems like a great guy. Yeah, not just all good things. He's getting a little older, but I'm not going to use that. That's not really my reasoning, but a lot of these other guys are young, but there is one guy that I'm so curious where you're going to put him because this could raise some questions too. On
Okay.
my end, I think I have him a you might think that I have this next guy low, but not next, but sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think it's still you though, or did you just do 12 and 11?
No, you're right. So that was 12. Now 11, I have Jackson Trio at 11.
Wow.
Um
But
I
even then,
mean,
we're not that far off. It's 14 and
no,
11.
we're not.
I mean,
So yeah, Kevin might not be happy with me either. So 117 OPS plus, 3.8 WAR. The biggest thing with him was how much he picked it up in the second half.
hmm
Um, again, it's kind of hard to get to the splits on Baseball Reference on my computer. On my phone, it's a lot easier, but amazing. Definitely a five-tool player. 22 stolen bases. I expect him to have more than that this next year because he was 97th percentile in sprint speed. His baseball refer or his baseball savant kind of that's one of the reasons why he's not in my top 10. It's a
Yeah.
little, it's good, but it's not nearly as good as a lot of these guys above him. Um, just yeah, great player. Uh, big thing. He that was his age 20 season, which is insane to me. So
Yeah.
he's super young. I expect him to be in the top three to top five in the next few years.
Mhm.
But right now I got him at 11. So
Yeah. I definitely agree with everything you said there. Teoscar pick I like too, and Churio, so those are both good. So for my 11 is where I have Teoscar. So like I said earlier, not too far away from you. Again, this is primarily just the bat, and what he's shown in LA, and it's kind of like another one of those eye test guys. You kind of lean into that a little bit more with just the vibes and everything, and the fit in LA is really great. They love him there, and he loves it there too. But just the potential with what he can do is also amazing. 33 home runs last year is awesome. 26, 25, 32 going back in some other years, a couple of Silver Slugger awards in there, a couple All-Stars. He's just all around, honestly, a really, really good player, and he's been doing it great for a long time too. So I was very happy that he found his way onto my list. Just missing the top 10 though. And this is where I have Jackson Merrill actually. So I'll be curious to see. I think you probably have him a little bit higher, but there's a couple
ooh,
other guys here that kind of take the cake for me. Oh, Parker's got.
dude, I don't know. I don't know if I just my projections. I don't. Maybe I'm just too optimistic, or maybe you're too pessimistic on these young guys. But
Yeah, it's just so hard. I lean more into experience, and these 1 year guys are so tricky because you want to see it again, and you're pretty sure you are, but you don't know for sure. I don't.
yeah,
So one thing I will say with Merrill, the splits for righties versus lefties is also a little concerning for me for an everyday center fielder. Versus lefties, he had a 646 OPS. Righties, he had an 891. 19 of his 24 home runs came off of righties. And I feel like we talk about Jackson Churio's second half a lot. Why don't we talk about Jackson Merrill's second half? He had a 314 average, 349 OBP, and a 596 slug for a 945 OPS. Hit 12 home runs post All-Star break, 44 RBIs. He was really good in the second half, and was a very, very needed addition on that San Diego team that did get eliminated. But I don't think they were expecting him to be this good, and it was huge that he was. And then again, looking at his season in totality, 24 home runs, 292 average, age 21 season, 826 OPS, slugging above 500. I mean, numbers like this from a 21-year-old are so impressive to me. And again, it's hard to say. And my biggest reasoning with some of the guys above him is just consistency and doing it again. I it's so hard for me to buy off of 1 year and say that that's going to be what he's going to do the next year and the following year and whatnot. But I think 10, I'm happy he made my top 10. And I think where he's at right now, I think he's a little higher than Churio. I couldn't reason myself to put him over some of these other guys. So
yeah. That I don't know. We'll see, but I'm curious what the rest of your list looks like now.
I'm very curious what your list looks like.
So, dude, this is so tough. My number 10 is that am I on 10 now?
Yep, 10 and 9.
Okay, so my number 10, I have Julio Rodriguez at number 10. So you didn't react that much, so that shouldn't
Yeah.
be crazy far off.
Nope. I think
Um,
that's good.
sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so number 10, Julio Rodriguez. He was dude, this one's so tough because he was amazing in 20, was it 2023 and 2022. He hit very consistent 28 home runs. His rookie season with an 853 OPS, posted a 6.2 WAR. Absolutely insane in 132 games his rookie year. And then 2023, he had 32 home runs with an 818 OPS. And then just a massive step back. His defense is still phenomenal, so he still posted a 4.3 WAR, but Offensively, 20 home runs, 68 RBIs with a 734 OPS and a 116 OPS plus. It's I know he's at Seattle, so that does make everything you kind of have to factor that in because
Yeah.
I saw like a stat that said that Seattle is almost like how much we think that Colorado helps the hitters. Seattle, like it's kind of the same difference with how much it hurts and it helps the pitchers. So
So it's a
keep that
big
in
difference.
mind. That's an important thing, but I'm definitely kind of low on him. He could 100% prove me wrong and go back to his 2022 rookie year form or even last year, which was amazing. Um, but as of right now, 10 was the highest I could put him. My number nine, I have Tatis at number nine. He's so tough to put a value on
Yeah,
because
Julio, Tatis, Trout, Acuna all kind of fall into the same category of, oh my gosh, when you're playing your best, you're one of the best players on the field, but then the lows are pretty low.
yeah,
So it's tricky, totally.
yeah, and the biggest thing with Tatis is yes, you look at his 2020, his age 21 season, his first 3 years are insane. 2019, his age 20 season, 969 OPS, 939 OPS the next year, and 975 OPS when he was age 22. Then he got hit with a PED suspension. So then it's like, okay, we know he's still an amazing player, but did that help him? Did it even, his thing was, it was to prevent ringworm or something. It was like a medication.
Yeah, something
I
crazy.
don't know. You don't know what to believe, so it's tough to really dwell on any of that stuff. But then he came back and he was kind of rough compared to what we're used to in 2023. He did have that entire 2022 season off because of the suspension, but 2023 110 OPS plus, and then last year, kind of got back to what he was, but still not quite. 21 home runs and an 833 OPS. And one of the reasons why he's not higher on my list is because his defense took a huge step back. He went from a platinum Gold Glover in 2023 to what stats say are below average. I don't know how much I believe that, but
Yeah.
that was really surprising to me. I don't understand how that would happen. So yeah, he's so tough. So I want to have more sure guys above him, but some of these guys above him, I'm super optimistic on apparently. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I guess the question becomes heading into 2025, supposedly you'd rather have Riley Green than Tatis.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I
With Tatis is if his defense is really taking a step back, I would say yes.
Yeah, dude, but Tatis is bad. Oh my gosh. You cannot tell me Tatis is bad is on another planet from Riley
I
Green's.
mean, Riley Green's his hitting stats were better last year though, and his defense,
Yeah, but I
both.
mean, this is Tatis coming off injury and playing a shortened season.
But look at 2020,
And coming off of, not playing for a full year and whatnot.
2023 and 2024, Green was better. And then
Maybe,
22, Tatis didn't even play. So
maybe.
I think it's pretty clear to me, but
Yeah,
and it's hard not to be biased, but I do really think that I don't know. We'll see.
it's no. I like the boldness, and maybe you have an argument because if you're not seeing this from Tatis, and it's been a while since we saw his peak. I guess maybe you do have a good point. My list doesn't disagree with you too much on the ones you just said. So for my number nine, I do have Julio here. He had a brutal start to the season last year. I'm gonna read off. So his OPS is from March to June, 485, which in March is like 2 games or whatever.
Hmm.
April was 625, 688, and then 574. So that first half of the season, he was terrible. And then you have a big jump in July. I don't know if he fixed something, he found something. Also didn't have as many plate appearances as the previous months, but he had a 1.122 OPS, 4 home runs, 375 average. Followed up in August with a 713. September was an 895. So he was a lot better in the second half. It was a 690 versus an 818 OPS, but even an 818 OPS is kind of like it's fine.
Hmm.
Something I really do like, he does play righties more, but his splits are really solid. It's 735 and 733. I think having good left and righty splits or pretty even ones is advantageous for guys, especially a center fielder that is probably going to play every day. Um, I'm definitely leaning more on the. I think we're going to see Julio kind of come back to form. I think there's a reason they signed this big extension. And, a year or two ago, they were talking about this guy like he was kind of like the next big thing. And I don't think you have those talks for like no reason. So I just, I think nine is kind of more of like a, let's see you get back to that. But I think we're trending in that direction. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Julio kind of get back into form.
Yeah.
At my number eight, and I have a feeling, based on what you're doing, I have a feeling this guy is probably super high for you. I have Jaron Duran here, coming off of arguably a top three center field season last year. Um, we've talked about him a lot, and he was one of my favorite players watching last year because I think when you think of a five-tool guy, it's Jaron Duran right now. Um, 48 doubles, 21 home runs, 34 stolen bases. He had a 285 average, 492 slug with an 834 OPS. Was also an All-Star and the All-Star Game MVP. An 8.7 B-WAR is incredibly, incredibly high. And everything is just the defense and it matches the offense. He's just all around such a solid player. Um, and it's encouraging to see this because we're talking about a lot of guys who are waiting to see make that jump and you know go off of one really good season and make it even better or kind of keep that up. And Jaron Duran is a really good example of this. Looking back at 23, played 102 games at a 2.1 WAR, 828 OPS, and followed that up with an unbelievable season after. So he's really broken out onto the scene and has become one of the better players here. It's just tough for me. There's so many, all the other guys above this list, maybe outside of one, I think are just so freaking good when they're on that it was just so hard for me to put them above those guys. And maybe that's just like name bias and like the flashiness and everything, but I think the stats do back it up somewhat. But I could see an argument for Duran being a lot higher than eight. I think just for how talented this list is, that's where he found his spot on mine.
Yeah. I have him a lot higher. I think I'm pretty high on him.
Yeah.
I yeah, I'll get into that, but eight, this you're trending more towards, like you said, the more like you're sure of guys that you know are gonna
Yeah.
produce. I have Trout at eight.
I like that. That's fine with me.
Um, it's so hard because we know that when he's out there, he's gonna be amazing. I mean, looking at his OPS pluses, oh my gosh. I'm gonna just to give more respect. I know 2012 doesn't really matter now what he did in 2012, but 168, 179, 169, 176, 173, 186, 193, 182, 167, 194, 176, 132, and then 140. So 132 was his lowest OPS plus ever, but I guess besides his 40 game sample in his rookie year or his pre-rookie year. But
Yeah.
amazing when he's out there. It's so hard to put a guy out there that has not proven to show any signs that he can stay out on the field. Like we know he's going to be amazing, but 14 RBIs last year, 44 in 2023. Like he's out when he's out there, he's amazing, but he's not producing enough because he's just not healthy. So it's so tough. I want to put him higher. I guess going into my number seven, this is where I got Riley Green. So not any higher than this. If I
Oh.
I think he would have had a stroke if I didn't put him if I didn't say his name now.
I know. It's so funny to hear Riley Green over Mike Trout and Fernando Tatis. But I'll let you go. It's
I
all
mean,
you.
the past 3 years, who are you taking? Tatis or Green based on the stats? Based on the stats.
Well,
All
that's
3 years you're taking Green.
I don't
All
know.
3 years. I mean, it's easy if you just look at the stats.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right
It's
now, and I think there's an argument that that's not true if Tatis plays the same amount of games. But then I guess you could say he didn't play the same amount of games. So
yeah, I mean, you got to dock him for some of it. I mean, I don't know. We'll let the stats do the talking this year, but
yeah,
Riley Green, yeah, if you look at his savant, it is very, very good. Um, Everything besides his expected batting average is in the 60 percentile, but all the main hitting ones, xWOBA, x slugging, average exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage. bat speed, they're all in the 80s to 90 percentile. His defense is good, not amazing, but it's good. Um, yeah, I expect big things, and he's only that was his age 23 season, so he's had a steady progression from 2022 until 2024 in OPS, OPS plus, everything's trended upwards. So I expect that trend to continue. So yeah, Riley Green at 7.
Do you think Riley Green's ever gonna have an OPS at 975?
Do you think Riley Green's ever gonna take steroids?
Yeah, but you just said you didn't know if he did. We don't know.
Yeah, but I mean they got him for it, so you have to assume he did.
Yeah, but like this is like the Barry Bonds thing where like you don't just hit 70 home runs because you took steroids. You're a really good hitter also.
Yeah. But I mean, when was that? When was his 900 OPS season?
2021, he had 42 home runs, 282 average, and then he's slugged above 600 with the 975 OPS.
So you look at those 2 years that you're looking at, the two like insane years, and then look at the next 3 years, and there's no
I,
consistency. So
I don't think you can say that though, because 2023 hit a 771 with 25 home runs, which was 14 more than Riley Green hit. And then 24, he played 30 less games, would have hit more home runs, and his OPS was actually higher than Green. So I mean, like, I don't really see your point. And I don't I think Fernando Tatis Jr. at his best is miles and away better than Riley Green will ever have of a season. I honestly think what we saw last year could be Riley Green's peak. I don't see him hitting more
oh,
than I don't think do
dude.
you think he's gonna hit more than 24 home runs in a season? I honestly don't
Yeah,
think so.
he's only 24 now. This is his age 24 season. I think he's just getting started. I don't know. You have to dock him a little bit for the PD. It's like you're like completely you can't. I'm not discrediting him, but some of that was the steroids. It has to be. I mean,
I maybe you know more about that than I do.
I really don't, honestly. But the
I
last 3 years, yes, I guess 2023 Green was hurt, so you have to get him for that a little bit. But I don't know. These guys
Well,
are
and
just
then
so
you also
tough.
bring up Green's Savant. Tatis beats him in every single category in terms of percentile rankings, even last season. So even the underlying metrics are better than Green's. I just
Besides defense,
okay, besides defense, but
but the hitting, not really, dude. You look at the bottom. I guess chase percentage, whip percentage, they're both kind of lacking in like the.
I mean, even their run value was the same last year, and we've seen Tatis put up a platinum glove. I mean, I'm not saying Green won't do that, but
We should have a this year we should have like a every 4 episodes like a check-in on both of them and see who's
yeah,
doing better.
okay, I'll gladly take the Tatis horse in this race
We can
over
see
the
there.
Riley Green horse. Yeah, when we do our worst takes at the end of the season, I'll be sure to remember this, and we'll see how
Oh,
you're
what
feeling
we
about
could have either one. It could be Green at 13. We'll
that.
see.
I don't know. This is it's crazy. Okay, we spent a lot of time on that. Where am I on 7 and 6?
Uh
Just fit.
yes.
Yeah, okay. So ironically, this is where I have Tatis at number 7. I mean, we've drilled this nail a lot now, so I'm not gonna really talk too much more about Fernando Tatis. To simplify my argument, when Tatis is on the field, when he's healthy, he is one of the most electric, one of the most talented, and one of the best players on a baseball field, period. And I don't really, I'm not going to say much else past that. Number 6 is where I have Mike Trout. So my list doesn't really disagree with yours too much here. Riley Green isn't up here with them, but I digress. So Trout, though, we've talked about how good he is already. They moved him to right field for um, this season, which I'm hoping that'll keep him healthy because Trout is one of the guys where even when he's been on the field, and I know it's been like literally never the past couple of seasons, but when he's been on the field, he still has been one of the best hitters in the league. It's not a guy where he gets hurt in the middle of the season, he's not been doing good when he's playing, he is still one of the top players in this league. So I'm banking on the move from center to right and maybe some games at DH. Trout can get healthy finally and contribute a full season. Maybe a full season now looks like 130, 120 games, but I think Angels fans will take that and baseball fans will take that over what we've been getting from Trout. So I'm banking on a healthy season for him. I think if he's healthy, he's going to return to form as what we know Trout can be. So pretty simple for my 7 and 6, and I'll bring it back over to you.
Okay. So my six, I have Jackson Merrill. Where'd you had him in 11?
10.
10. Okay.
I mean, so it's a little off,
So
but not by much.
yeah. So you're telling me this is telling me with a lot of confidence. I guess three spots is that's I'm it's kind of a margin. So you'd say with some decent confidence that Tatis is going to be that much better than Jackson Merrill,
Uh,
who rookie put up a higher OPS plus, better defense, faster. Just every department last year he was better.
yeah, I guess I don't see any reason to like outside of Tatis just genuinely not playing. I don't see any reason to doubt he won't be Fernando Tatis this year, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like we could argue that his stats and him not playing in whatever the past couple of years, yeah, but this is kind of the year where I think the stars are aligning again for Tatis to play a full season and not have any other distractions. And so I don't think there's any reason for me to doubt that he won't go back to 2021 or at least something similar to that if you want to make the steroid argument or whatever and such.
Yeah.
So, and I think Tatis's ceiling right now is higher than Amero's ceiling just because of the experience, age difference, whatever you want to say. So I would say yes.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
I Jackson Merrill, amazing rookie season. You went through the stats, but 24 home runs, 826 OPS, 127 OPS plus, amazing defense. He was also one of those electric guys that really makes baseball a lot better. My number five. So I didn't know if you'd have him high or low. This, like you said, this guy's so hard to tell where he'd be, but I have Acuna at five. Okay, so looking at Acuna's 2023 stats, so this was his MVP season. 41 home runs, 160 RBIs, 73 stolen bases. The first ever 40-70 season with a 1.012 OPS. Led the league in that. Led the league in, like I said, stolen bases, hits, runs, at-bats, plate appearances. Just super healthy the whole season. And then the injury bug hit him. And that's where he got docked to five. Otherwise, he'd be sitting at that like 2, 3, 4-ish range. So that hurt him a lot. But when he played last year in 200-ish at bats, 716 OPS, 101 OPS plus, so just the hitting wasn't there. But like I said, just wasn't himself at all. His defense was not anything special either, like it has been in the past. So that's where he's got docked here. I can 100% seeing him climb up this list again. I say climb as if he's not five still, but
Yeah.
we're
But
still, I'm still pretty high on him.
right, absolutely. So he's also my number five. Yeah, I would echo everything you would say. A big concern I do have is this is his second torn ACL. And I remember when he did it last year, I was like, I think this guy did it earlier too, and also tore his
Yeah.
ACL. This time it was base running. Previous time it was playing in the field. And it's just like it's so like we kind of talk about pitchers with two Tommy Johns all the time, and then like it is tricky to come back from that. What does it look like to come back from two torn ACLs? And I'm not sure if this was in his same leg or not that he did it the first time. Do you know off the top of your head if it was?
I do not. If I had to guess, I think it was the opposite legs, but that
So I mean, we all know torn ACL is a pretty brutal injury and not the easiest thing to come back from. So having two of those in the past, I guess, 3 or 4 years
Mhm.
is brutal. But I think we're both banking on, what we saw in 2023, the 8.2 WAR. I guess another thing of concern is even in 2024, what we did see of him was not like great. And you could have turned it around, but he was nowhere near what he was in 2023. In 49 games, he had a 716 OPS, only 4 home runs. I just was nowhere near what he was doing in 2023. So a lot of things are kind of saying like, watch out for this guy, but I think we both kind of believe in him still, and I think we both believe to be what is one of the better center fielders in the game. And so we're hoping to see that come back into the fold here for next year. So for now, my number four, this is where I have Corbin Carroll.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, you're good.
This is just a question that I think about this all the time. So, like you said, Acuna tore his ACL running. And then we saw in the postseason like Otani got a little gimpy stealing a base one time. He was still able to like play through it. But with these teams that are like almost postseason locks, which I know the Braves aren't because the NL is just so loaded. Do you, if you're a Braves fan with Acuna, or if you're a Dodgers fan with Otani, if I'm one of those fans, I almost say don't even attempt to steal one base for these guys because I know that's part of their game and I know that helps them a lot. But when time and time again we see these guys get injured because of just trying to run too hard, like it's I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's worth it with
Uh,
guys with a past of injury. Is it worth it to risk the entire season? I understand playoffs. Maybe in the playoffs it's like it's go time, but in the regular season, what do you think?
I think you have an argument if you're not talking about two of the best like base runners or like base stealers in the league.
Yeah,
I think it would be impossible for me to tell a guy that stole 73 bases in a season to just not steal bases. Or it's like telling Ellie to like not steal. Like that's like a huge part of his game, and taking that away from him seems like you're just limiting him.
yeah,
It's just like it's just so pessimistic that they're gonna get hurt and everything. And yes, it sucks if it does happen, but I think it's well worth the risk. And maybe base running isn't the most valuable thing in the league, but when you're talking about these guys that do it 70 times, which is like literally once every 2 games or whatever, especially
yeah,
if you're leading off like Acuna, like Otani, getting a guy to second off a walk or a single is huge. I mean, getting guys in scoring position is amazing, especially with no outs. You don't even need to get a hit after that to score him. It can be a ground ball and a fly out to get him home, and that gives you an early lead in a game, which I think we both know how important getting on the board first in any game is. So I think you're just undermining the value of stealing bags just a little bit. And we're not even talking about stealing third. This is just stealing second. I think stealing third is also pretty important. And I would also say Acuna's injury was not directly stealing second. He was on second and he just kind of tweaked it as he was trying to get back, I think. I haven't watched the video in a while,
okay.
but I know it was not just him trying to steal second and he tore his
Mhm.
ACL. It was just like a funky tweak when he was on second base in the middle of a pitch or something. And Otani's saying luckily he dodged a bullet and he wasn't even that hurt. So
Yeah.
until I see guys, every 10 bases, every time, like every 10 or so attempts they try to steal the
Yeah.
gray card, I would think you would have an argument. But for right now, I would say no, I don't think you can do that.
And I guess like he's playing the outfield, so when he's running down all these fly balls, isn't that kind of the
Yeah,
same? Just
right.
stealing the
Or
base?
or it's like, oh, you're in the batter's box. Maybe if you get hit in the head with a baseball, but like you can't like, are you what? You're gonna take him out so it doesn't happen? No, you're gonna let him play.
It scares me. If any of my like when Riley Green will try to steal or something, like it gets me a little.
Yeah,
But yeah, like you said, it hasn't consistently shown up as a problem. So I guess until it does,
right.
steal away. But sorry, you can continue
No,
at
you're
four.
good. So, this is why I have Corbin Carroll, and where'd you have him again?
I had Carroll at
All the way down there.
12.
12. Okay. So yeah, four. It's really, really high. Um, and I guess so I was curious that you kind of brushed by his 2023 because his 2023 was really, really good. 161 hits, 25 home runs, 54 stolen bases, 868 OPS, playing amazing defense. Uh, if you're just looking at 2023 and even 2022 when he got called up, really, really, really good things that you're liking. And then you bring up last year. He got off to a terrible, terrible start. And you mentioned the injury. I don't know if that was what was messing up with his swing, but I actually wanted to. I think I'm going to send you this article once we're done. But this is by the Just Baseball guys actually, or a writer from Just Baseball. A really really good article breaking down Corbin Carroll's swing and the differences between 2023 and 2024. Pretty much the video is getting at his. And again, I'm not a very good like swing savvy guy and knowing what to do and what not to do, but the argument pretty much makes the point that his lower half was out of sync with his upper half, which is not good. And this was leading to a lot of other things. His front foot was coming up before the barrel was in the zone. He was also super overextended, and then that made him come out of the swing a lot earlier. And so they were noticing this early in the season, and then he made a fix midway through the season, or it appeared he made a fix. And then looking at the splits in the second half, you talked about them 919 OPS, 17 home runs was just so much better in the second half and rounded out to a pretty okay year overall last year. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is a former top prospect has shown what he's done previously in 2023 and was arguably a top two, top three outfielder, center fielder, whatever you want to say, going into 2024. And then 2024, seeing probably a valid reason for why that stuff was happening, and then seeing him probably making that fix and watching him return to that, I think gives me everything I need to know to say he'll be good in 2025. And I think that's why I have him so high, because I feel confident in that article and what they found, and I feel confident. And he's one of the only guys I feel like I can say I'm pretty confident he's going to bounce back to 2023 Corbin Carroll. Do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, so you have him at 4, and I'm not going to dwell on the Jackson Merrill, but you have Merrill at 10.
Yeah, right.
So both of their rookie years were pretty similar. I can say that Carroll's was a little bit better. Um, Not much better though. 133 OPS plus compared to Merrill's 127, and then 5.4 WAR compared to 4.4. So I can't argue that Corbin was a little bit better, but still very, very similar. Both speed demons, I guess Corbin Carroll was more of a speed demon. 54
Yeah.
stolen bases, 34 this last year. So I'll give him that too. But aren't don't you want to take the more sure, like what just happened? I understand. I understand what you were talking about with Carroll, but and honestly, I can see Carroll being above Merrill, but a 6 gap is crazy, I think.
Yeah, I guess
Coming off of the season that they both just had. I don't want to ignore Carroll's rookie year, but you can say with that much confidence that Carroll's gonna be that much better than Merrill.
so. I guess my security in where I find Carroll is I mean, so we could talk about like this might be a similar situation with Merrill next year where he had a really good rookie season, gets off to a slow start, finds it again after that. So I think seeing Carroll go through a super high at his rookie season and then fall back down to earth and then find it again, I think is more encouraging to me than I put more security in that than not having seen Merrill go through that because I think there are going to be growing pains for him, and I think Carroll's already made it through those growing pains, kind of making the big league adjustment. And maybe you could say he already did in 2023, but I'm just very encouraged at the fact that Carroll struggled and he got through that struggle, and you know, in a smaller sample, returned to what we know Corbin Carroll to be. And I guess my reasoning is Merrill just concerns me that he had this really hot start, and I just don't know what that's going to look like next year. But Carroll, I just feel more confident in it. And maybe I need to look into Merrill more. And Carroll was just, I mean, I read an article about him and everything, and I
Yeah.
didn't do that for Jackson Merrill. So that could also be why just more knowledge about Carroll and what he's going through compared to Merrill. But I guess I would say that's my reasoning.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to assume he'll have growing pains because you see it with some guys, but there's
And
still a
maybe
lot
he
of
won't. Maybe he
yeah.
won't. That is what I worry about. And Carroll, I don't think will have those anymore. So that's yeah.
Okay.
I think you'll be on
I'm
four and
on. I
three.
okay.
Yeah.
I think our top three should be the same. I think it's
Yes.
kind of clear.
I agree. I agree.
But 4, I have Jarren Duran at 4, so I'm pretty high on him. 8-7 WAR was the big thing that jumped out. His defense is absolutely stellar. 160 games, led the league in plate appearances, at bats, doubles, and triples. Still had some decent pop with 21 home runs, 75 RBIs, with a 129 OPS, with an 834 OP, 129 OPS plus 834 OPS. 2023. Like you mentioned too, 2.1 WAR, still a good hitter, but just not a huge sample size. 828 OPS. and then just really broke onto the scene this past year. Only going in his age 28 season. Even if he replicates the same thing, I think it's fair that 4 would be where he's at. In a hitter's park too. Just I can't see him regressing really at all. Um, is the 8.7 a little high compared to what he will? That might be his highest in his career, but
I was gonna
um,
say Fangraphs projections. I think it was a 6.7 F4 last year. They have him falling to like a 3.4 or something like
that's
that. Like
crazy.
it's a big drop off, and I don't
Yeah,
know where they're getting that from, but maybe just something to
there's
keep.
got to be something
Yeah.
to that. But yeah, Jarren Duran number 4. I'm pretty high on him. Number 3, I've Tucker at number 3.
Yep.
Okay. So Kyle Tucker at number 3. Could he have crept up at 2 or 1? Probably not.
No.
Even if he played a full season, I still don't think he would have.
Yeah.
Um, Amazing though, super consistent. Just looking at his last 4 years, I guess we can go back to 2020 because um, shortened season, 1.9 WAR, so would have had again like a 5 WAR like he has put up, and then 5.7, 5.4, 5.4, and then 4.7. And that 4.7 only dipped because he played 78 games.
Mhm.
I won't touch on him too much because we can kind of go back and forth with these next guys.
Yeah.
But 993 OPS, 23 home runs, 49 RBIs, just mashes the ball, good defense. Um, yeah, and real quick, we're really going on tangents here, but I like these conversations.
Yeah.
So Kyle Tucker, what's your idea on the Cubs trade with Isaac Paredes? I don't know if we talked about this, but good or bad? And that was Cam Smith, right?
Yep. It
Send
was
me that
Cam.
thing if you want to.
Oh my gosh. I thought that was like a joke post when I saw it at
No, I
first.
don't think so.
Maybe I'll put a picture of it up here or something so you guys know what I'm talking about. But it was uh Kyle Tucker versus Cam Smith spring training at bats. Tucker was like 0 for 3 when it was posted, and Cam was 2 for 2. I think it was a game he had 2 home runs, and it was like, oh, the Cubs got fleeced or whatever. Like the Astros won this trade, and I mean, it's probably just rage bait, and I'm doing exactly what they want me to do, where it's just like, I don't know, if it's serious, then it's crazy to me that they're already calling it that. Especially, we're talking about Tucker so highly regarded, but looking at the trade itself, I think it's really, really good for both sides right now. Um, Paredes was not going to work in Wrigley, and I think they saw that last year when they traded for him. I just don't think that fit was great. And we've talked about Paredes before with the short porch and everything, and that's what makes him such a great fit in Houston. The Astros also, their farm system is very bare bones right now. Especially after the Kikuchi trade last year, they kind of traded away some of their last kind of top end guys. But Cam Smith easily became their number one prospect when he came over.
Mhm.
I honestly think it's probably great for both sides because the Astros are starting to kind of, I would say, come to an end of, if you want to call it a dynasty or whatever, but like that core is going away. And do I really think they were going to pay Tucker that money, especially after the Juan Soto deal? Probably not. So I think for what the Cubs needed, which is like a superstar after moving Belly too, if you still want to call him that, they got what they needed. They gave up a pretty good prospect, but looking at the Cubs farm system, I'm still very happy with what they have coming up. The Astros, on the other hand, probably not going to pay Tucker. You probably were going to lose Bregman also. They're still going to be good, but are they going to be competing? I don't know. So you get something in return for Tucker while he's still valuable, and you get Paredes, who's probably going to be really good at third now that Bregman's gone, and you get a really, really good prospect as well. I really like the move for both sides. I think long term, the Astros will probably benefit from it more because Paredes is still very young. And when Cam Smith comes up, he's probably going to be very good. And then the Cubs only get Tucker for 1 year unless they pay for him. But looking at it right now, where we're sitting in 2025 and heading into the season, I think it was really good for both sides. I think they both teams did a pretty good job addressing their needs.
Yeah. I completely agree on Astro's side. Especially Paredes fits that ballpark to a T. Like that's like perfect for him. And Wrigley was probably the worst spot for him.
Right.
And we saw that with how much his numbers dropped when he went there. So I love it on their side. Cam Smith and then Paredes, amazing. For 1 year of Cal Tucker, that's kind of where it raises some concern on the Cubs side. I
Right.
still like it. I know that they've been bullied by Milwaukee for too long and they want to take that division. But to me, it's kind of in my head, it's like, is it World Series or bust if you're giving up two of your big assets? Because you had multiple years of control on Paredes, and then Cam Smith could be a stud in the future.
Y-
Um, Long term, you can't even look at long term because they only got 1 year of Tucker, so it's kind of hard to even look at that. But like, okay, real quick, we can move on. I'm
No,
I'm
you're
really
good.
going
You're
off
good.
on all these, but if Cubs win the division and get bounced in the first round, or let's say they get bounced in the AL or the NLCS,
Yep.
but let's say Cal Tucker was a catalyst to like even get to that point, like he was like the main reason why, but then they get bounced. Do you think that's a win after losing those two big assets?
Yeah, I would still say so. I guess my reasoning would be so Matt Shaw's coming up for the Cubs, and having a third base slot open with Paredes gone is like perfect now. So
Yeah, that's true.
you're not really missing a lot there, and you just said also Paredes is not a good fit. So I don't consider that to be a huge loss. Is Cam Smith a big loss? Yes, and he's really good, and he's probably going to be really good in Houston. But again, I'll go back to the Cubs farm system. It doesn't really make a huge dent in how talented it is there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if we see Cal Tucker be really good and bring him that far into the postseason, then I would say he did exactly what they were hoping that they did. They came
Hmm.
up short, and that could be at fault for the rest of the team maybe not being great, and that kind of falls back onto the Cubs front office side of not providing a good enough team to make it that far in a very competitive National League. But if that were the scenario, I would say it was still a win for the Cubs overall, despite not, winning it all. So.
And you have to factor in a little bit that if he loves Chicago, which they already have problems with arbitration, so that did hurt a little bit. I don't know if you saw that, but
Yeah.
um between Tucker and the Cubs, but if they do somehow like hit it off between the two and then they extend him, that's also another factor. So,
Yeah, you
um,
never know. I mean, the Cubs haven't really shelled out huge contracts recently, so I would say probably not.
yeah,
But if some, yeah, like you said, anything could happen at this point. So,
yep,
so on the Kyle Tucker point, I'll kind of dive into some of his numbers. I kind of did a pretty deep dive into Tucker for some reason. I'm just pretty fascinated with this guy, and I think I don't know if underrated is the right word, but he's really good. So 78 games last year. He hit 23 home runs in 78 games. I think you said he had a 4.7 BWAR or a
yeah,
4,
or
which
seven.
in 73 games, like, or
Mm-hmm.
78 and half a season, that is crazy. So something else I noticed, he had a 6-degree uptick in his average launch angle, and we have not seen that from Tucker ever before. So it was a 21.2 this year. I think it's average, and then it was 14.8 in 2023. So he's elevating the ball more, and I was kind of like, okay, he's probably going to maybe strike out more and be a little bit more aggressive, but it was actually the opposite. So he ended up walking more than he did last year. It was up 5%, but he did K a little bit more. It was only up 2% though, but the trade-off was really good because he was getting on base at a 408 clip in those 78 games, which I have to imagine was probably top end of the league. Getting on base 408 is crazy. So then I was kind of like, okay, let's see his at bats. So his first pitch swing was down almost 10 percentage points last year. As well with his swing percentage was down 5% last year. So what I was noticing is he's elevating more, leading to more home runs at 23. I think it was 23, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
23 home runs. 2022 he had 30, 2023 he had 29. So if he played the full season, I think he would have been touching 40 to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So you're seeing more elevated home runs. The exit velocity wasn't increasing, which is maybe a little concerning, but seeing the walk rate grow up and the more patient ABs, I was pretty happy with that. So getting your angle up leads to more home runs and you're walking more. I think he found a new approach or new something that gets me very excited about this season. And I think it could be a dark horse for, I don't want to say MVP because it's like, Otani's in that league and everything, and the NL is
yeah.
very competitive, but I think Silver Slugger is definitely within grasp for him, and a career year could be ahead of him in Chicago. So I'm really excited to watch him this year, and I hope to see similar trends of what he was showing in 78 games last year, and of course that he stays healthy. But that was just kind of something interesting that I noticed with Tucker's numbers. So hopefully that stays in
Mhm.
Chicago. So I think like you said, so I'm going to confirm. Do you have Judge one, Soto two?
Yeah,
Okay. So then we can kind of tandem these two as we kind of wrap up here. This is 1A and 1B for me, to be honest with you.
it's so tough.
I
It
couldn't say enough good things about both these guys.
yeah,
And it's crazy to like, I mean, not think, but crazy to know that they were on the same team together last year. They were both going to be in the corners though this year. Both still going to be New York. Soto's a Met though now. So I kind of was looking at Judge's numbers though, just kind of I knew he was going to be one, but I I guess this is a question for you. Do you think we may have throughout like the Soto free agency and like everything with his number and his contract and his numbers, do you think we kind of forgot about how good Aaron Judge is just a little bit?
100%. Dude,
Okay.
I think he's underrated. And that's insane because
Yeah,
plays
right.
for the Yankees. Dude, his numbers, like I'm looking at him right now. I don't even know if I've fully like dived into his baseball reference. I wanted to put Soto at one so bad, like so badly, but you'd be a Yankees hater if you didn't put Judge at number one.
My gosh. Yeah.
And it's insane to think and you were saying this too, how they're on the same team. Other than Soto, these are I think the two best players in the MLB. Position, pitchers, no matter I think they're even with Bobby Witt in the equation, I think these are the two best players. Their hitting is insane.
Even with Otani?
I'm saying excluding I said
Oh,
excluding Otani.
okay, okay, okay.
Otani's the best,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
But position players and pitchers, dude, it's insane. I like looking at Judge, 39 home runs in 2021, good 916 OPS. That was like a down year for him.
Yeah,
And
right.
then 2022, 62 home runs, which was the American League record, I believe, over was it Roger Maris
Yep.
with the 111 OPS. And then he missed 56 games in 2023 and still put up 37 home runs with a 1.019 OPS. Just absurd. And then this last year, video game numbers, 58 home runs, 1159. Like
Look at that
his
slug too.
OPS,
He
it was like
slugged above
180,
700.
yeah,
Oh my
180 points higher than Soto. So you can't put Soto at one, but Soto is also amazing.
yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, we literally can't say enough good things about these guys. Soto's always out there. That's where he has Judge a little bit. Judge has some injury history, but he has proven to be healthy recently. But Soto is always going to give you like 90% of the games.
I also did notice uh, Judge is like the MLB leader in walk rate. He walks 19% of the time,
Hmm.
which is I can't believe he does that on top of the hitting numbers too.
Yeah.
And he strikes out 24% of the time, but like who cares at that point? If you're
Yeah.
putting up these kinds of power numbers while also still walking a lot, like holy, like that's crazy. And something else I noticed about Soto, and I guess this might be common knowledge, but he walks more than he strikes out, which is a testament to how good of a hitter that guy is. And it is weird. I would you still say with so Judge is probably his walk rate is actually higher than Soto's. He still Ks a little bit more though. But then looking at his numbers, when you say like a pure hitter, would do you think Judge or Soto first? It's apples and oranges. I mean, there's no wrong
Yeah.
answer.
I think you have to say Judge, but well, real quick, if you guys want something fun to look at their savants. It's literally just
Fred.
100% and 99. Like which one of them is the
Yeah.
100, which one's 99? It's just either Judge or Soto. Like in the first five things, it's just those two.
Hmm.
In terms of pure hitter, yeah, I think you have to go Judge, but a big thing that was like in my mind was, and this is what matters the most. I know I'm not gonna fault Judge too much for the postseason. He was bad, but I do think that was a fluke. I think if they got back this next year, which they will, because they're the Yankees and they're really good, I think he's gonna be amazing. But Soto, I can guarantee with what he's shown and how he shows up the most out of any player, I think, in the bright lights, I think Soto's guaranteed to be amazing every postseason.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where he has the edge. And he's proven that. I in the postseason, I think you can agree. You 100% take Soto.
Yeah, right now I would take Soto.
And I'm not just looking at last year. I know it's easy to look at Judge
Yeah,
last.
yeah. But
Soto, that's what he's built for is the
right.
postseason.
And you could take that all the way back to 2019 with the Nationals. You
Hmm.
still see that there. The young 19-year-old Soto, playing amazing baseball. Yeah, I would say Soto too. And like you said, fresh in the memory is still that game 5 or 6 home run against Cleveland, the 3-run shot, whatever game that
Oh
was.
yeah.
So yeah, it's these guys were spoiled to have this influx of outfield talent here. This heading into 2025. It's probably only going to get better. There's a lot of guys. Did you have any honorable mentions? I think you said you did. Or
Yeah. It's actually interesting. We had the same 15 players. Do you
did we?
realize that?
Wow, I guess we did.
We had the same 15 with some variation
So
and
I
some
mean,
arguments along the way,
yeah,
but
but still, that's pretty. I don't think we haven't had a list like that yet. We've always kind of had
no.
maybe one or two off. So
I had a ton of just I'll list them off. This isn't any particular order, but Brenton Doyle had an amazing season. He's super underrated. Great defender. Hitting is just above average, but still. Yelich injured. Buxton always injured, but both great players when they're healthy.
yeah.
Profar, Brian Reynolds, Anthony Santander, Ian Happ, James Wood, all those guys had a case for like maybe 15, but just couldn't do it.
You could also throw in Wyatt Langford into that young kind of
Yeah.
guy list where who knows what we're going to see in 2025. Some people are projecting like all-star level, some I don't know. We'll see with him. Did you say Lawrence Butler too?
Uh, I did not, but he
He's another
was. I did
guy.
cross his name off.
He could
You're
be a
big on
big
him.
breakout kind of guy. I
Yeah.
still am salty I didn't take him on our breakout draft, and I think it was Alec Burleson over Lawrence Butler,
Yeah,
and
you
Alec
did the
Burleson's
Cardinals.
he's fine. I was should have taken Butler. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's crazy how many talented outfielders we have in the game today. So yeah, do you want to do a quick recap for 15 through 1?
Yeah. So I had Robert. Sorry,
I
Luis.
think I think it's Robert
I've heard both. Okay.
Robert.
Juan Carroll Hernandez, Churio, Mike Trout. Wait, no, sorry, I'm messing this up. Julio Rodriguez, Tatis, then Trout, then Riley Green. Just wait and see. Jackson Merrill, Acuna, Duran, Tucker, Soto, and then Judge.
Okay, so I had Quan, Churio, Robert, Green, Hernandez, Merrill, Rodriguez, Duran, Tatis, Trout, Acuna, Carroll, Tucker, Soto, and Judge is going to round it out. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think we're good.
All right.
Next week, or not next week, tomorrow, I guess we'll be recording again.
Yep. So yeah, be on the lookout. I'm sure this might be up today, the day that we're recording it. So be on the lookout for tomorrow. We're gonna do pictures, and then obviously, like I said earlier, awards and like predictions and all that heading into 2025 will be in the next 2 days. So lots of fun stuff happening over here. Really excited. I'm sure you all are excited as well. So thank you for everybody who tuned in this late. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for tuning in for 20 episodes of Loose and Groovy. Many more to come in the future. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.